Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the New York session stream. This is the 26th October. 26th October. This is the last week of this month, and we have to make sure that this is the best week of this month. I mean, I'm going to make sure it's the best week for my month over here. I'm not sure about everyone else, but from that, what I mean is that managing risk, managing your profits, like, not trying to go overboard here with your trades. But as far as we can see now, with respect to what's happening technically on the pair that I mostly look at GPJPY, we did break about 136,700. This was the analysis sent in our groups yesterday. That if we do break above here, there's an opportunity for price to continue bullish. Before that, we did try breaking below 136,400, but there was no break below. I mean, we had one break below, then there was no retest, right? Right over here as well, we had a break below, but there was no retest. So, we couldn't break below, but we broke above. We broke above 136,700, and I think it's going to head to 137 here even, but what I'm personally be looking for is some sort of a retracement for price to come down, create some sort of support, and then continue bullish. Although it seems like on the 5-minute, it is kind of like creating that consolidation area to continue up. Are we starting an hour early today? Nope. I guess there's a time change in the I guess there's a time change in Europe, but there's no time change here in North America, so we're following the same times. Let's take a look at gold over here, see what's going on. So yeah, I think we should continue up towards 137 here on GPJPY. All I want to see is some sort of a retest, some sort of support formed, so we can continue moving up, and I can take that second entry to continue moving bullish. So at this time, I think there's going to be some sort of a waiting involved at this point. Let's take a look at gold. Oh, gold actually dipped down to that support at 1894, 1888. And now it's retracing back up. We're creating a support on gold. And this area is 1897. We're approaching a resistance area on gold as well at around 1904. So we're ranging at this point. I think it's going to be a pretty good move if we break above 1904 on gold, 1903, 1904, continuing straight up towards 1910. So that's like a 60 pip range, like around 50 to 60 pip range. So we'll have to wait in that area for price to come up to. But GBP JPY. See, now when we're looking left, we have these clean candles here to the left hand side, and it seems like it is coming up towards 137.070. But I think before that, if it retraces, I think that's going to be a pretty good idea to take a buy position for price to continue moving up. So we'll have to wait for that here. It's pretty easy when you have to just wait, right? You just gotta wait. I mean, if you're not in this trade, then you're not in this trade, and if this is sometimes, when you watch price moves really quick, it's really easy that sometimes, you get that FOMO, but that's totally okay because you got to wait for price to kind of come to the levels you want it to come to. What was your approach for the buy on this trade? My approach, so I had a buy somewhere at 136, 851, 841, and my whole idea was in the morning when I woke up, I saw price was down over here, and I saw there was a clean range to the left-hand side. If you look left, right, over here, there was a clean range till 136, 920. So my whole idea was that as we're waking up and moving into the pre-New York, I think there's a very high probability that if we're moving bullish in GJ, there's a very high probability we could tap into 136, 920, 980, so that was the whole idea when price was moving up. And to be fair, I've seen these moves happen lots in the past too. Like, before we start the stream, we've seen price move a little bit, like, with volume. So that was the whole idea, that when price was moving up, the candles were forming somewhere right over here, entered a position, had a stop loss down at 136,780, went in profits, put stops at break even. And when it came up towards 9-10 pips, I secured profits. So now I'm waiting for my real trade, and the real trade is going to be, since we're moving bullish at this point. Oh, we tapped 137. Since we're moving bullish at this point, my real trade is going to be where price is going to retrace, create like a support area, and then continue up. That's something I'm going to be actively waiting for today. Hey, from 1st November, the DST will shift time 1 hour forward for NY. Our currency market opens at 8 a.m. in all sessions. Currency market opens at 8 a.m. Eastern. So whatever 8 a.m. Eastern is going to be for your time zone, that's when the NY is going to open. Can you help me with my CFA prep? I'm pretty sure I can't. Okay, let's take a look at how the news played out overnight here. Let's take a look at the calendar. All right, Euro had some sort of bad news, and overall we should have a very clean day, very easy day here today. Looking at the news over here, so overnight we didn't have anything else. It'd just be like some small Brexit news, and that's about it. With gold looking to take an impulse entry only when price is over 1904, and only if I can get a tight stop on a 30-minute candle, otherwise letting it run. 1904, yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense for gold to break above, 1903, come into 1904, and then continue on. I mean, that would make sense. I mean, I think you would also need a candle to close above 1903, 1904. Because if you look left, you can see that this candle also came up towards 1906, but it closed below 1904. Right over here too, candle closed below 1904. So you would need a candle to close above 1904 and then continue. Because what can happen is you can get a candle moving up towards 1904 and then can retrace back down. So that's why it's going to be really important to wait. I'm new to this. I was wondering, when you set your limits, what do you use your markers? No, we don't set any limits over here. Let's take a look at our first chart here for the day, coming in from an ex-Gulag member here. Let's take a look. Oh, wrong chart. Come on. You have a wrong chart. All right, let's take a look at the chart here. It's going to be our first chart here. Oh, okay, you're JPY. Hey, I hope you had a great morning. I had a very good morning. Been watching for a few months. This is my first time sending a chart. Looking to break and retest setup on 30 minutes. Yeah, this looks good. I think your JPY is set up in a way that it wants to continue down. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Oh, wow, we tapped into the same support we had drawn from the Asian session, the analysis I sent. Came down to the same area there. Once we broke below, 124, came straight down towards 123.830, and now it's coming back up to do some sort of a retest, probably in this area right over here. It could form a resistance and then continue down. So yeah, it's pretty good analysis. I'd probably wait for the same thing if I was trading Euro JPY. What are your thoughts on putting a buy-sell limit versus market execution? I think both are same. I mean, if buy-sell limit means you're trying to, buy-sell limit is if you have a buy limit down here, you're expecting price to bounce without any confirmation. So I think that's going to be a little risky. So what I would say is to wait for candles to form and then take a trade. Let's take a look at this US 30 trade over here. Broke out of this range. Once candle broke the low, you took an entry, closed 50% of the position, keeping a runner, hits this target. Yes, beautiful. I mean, now the only thing you'll need is for 4-hour to continue bearish at this point. Not sure what the small time frames look like, but I think it should work out. But the only thing is now it's reaching this support So you don't know whether on the small time frames if we're creating a support here to continue up or like a retracement or what. So you need to keep that in mind. It's a Monday, and I would really advise everyone to just, stay patient on Monday. Don't overtrade, don't over risk. This is GJ 15 minute. Entered after bullish candle close above resistance right here. Close 50% at 10 pips. Oh, beautiful. Nice. Stops are at break even as well. Yeah, it's very nice. Very nice trade. I think it should continue up. But more than I wanted to continue up, I wanted to come down to do a little bit of a retracement. Hey Raja, you are up early today. No, I think if most people do their research and they do some analysis on how the world is working, you will understand that only you have the time change. There's no time change in North America. We're still the same. Nothing has changed. Man, even I know time has changed in the UK. Hey, I took this trade, showed this to Monty. He said it was a reasonable trade. Just want to know what you think. Well, if Monty told you it's a reasonable trade, man, how can I go against Monty? I can't go against Monty. I can't turn around and say it's a bad trade. Imagine I say it's a bad trade. Let's take a look at this. I don't know, nasty rejection area, 50 MA rejection, golden fib zone over here. I'm not sure what's happening down over here. No idea what's going on over there. Waiting for patiently for 1 hour to make a support and retest the last high. Yeah, it's a reasonable trade. I think there was a reason he said it's a reasonable. Nothing. Yeah, it's a reasonable trade, man. Not only God should be on your side, but the entire Forex community should be on your side to hit TP3 and TP4. But you have a lot of problems here as price moves up. So yeah, it's a reasonable trade. I'd say so. All right, New Zealand USD. Oh, that means it's trading New Zealand USD now. Broke 1 hour resistance. Support created on 15 minute. Awaiting 15-minute bullish candle close. But the candle has already closed bullish here. This one. It already closed bullish. I think you need to see, you need to look at the 30-minute as well and also measure if this is enough range till this pink zone you have or not. I don't think it's enough range as well. Alright, let's take a look at this. This is GJ. If price created resistance, 30-minute time frame, can look for sell, take profit target right over here. Yeah, this is good. This is good. So you're thinking the opposite, right? You're thinking the opposite. You're thinking, okay, if price comes up over here and forms resistance, there's a higher opportunity for price to continue down or reject this area, because not only we had a rejection over here, we had the rejection with the previous candle as well. So look how this candle went all the way up to this area right over here, 137,300. So it came all the way up, but it couldn't close above 137, 070, whatever that price is. So you had a rejection here, rejection. So I think it's been pretty good if you can get a resistance formed for you to sell and price come down. What I'm going to be looking for at that point is going to be a support formed somewhere to buy, and then we can continue going up. So, there are two sides to this coin over here. Someone's looking for sells, someone's looking for buys. And both people are correct. Hey, long time. Okay, this English is pretty fucked up. Hey, Raja, M long time. Why out sending any chart back again? Oh, all right. Let's take a look at this chart here. We got Gulag with the broken English situation over here. Let's take a look at this. This is, oh, GJ buys. Nice. See the 1 hour candle broke the 4 hour above the high. Nice. Beautiful. Yeah, I think you're ignoring this resistance over here. So I think you need to keep this in mind as well as prices are approaching that area. You know, so I think it's going to be very important. You see the 15-minute candle closing bullish. There's a probability for this one to continue moving up, but since this is a 15-minute time frame, this is a weak confirmation time frame, so we need stronger confirmations over here. And what I'm going to be waiting for is some sort of a retracement on 30-minute to come down, create support, and then take a buy to continue moving up. Today, that's what I'm going to look for. I think a whole bunch of people are waiting for, all right, let's take a look here. Option 1 and then option 2. Yes. A whole bunch of people are waiting for this to happen. Even I'm waiting for this to happen. So let's see if that happens today or not. Hey, this bullish move from London is due to the vaccine talks from the UK Health Secretary, which gave optimism to the GBP. What do you think of correctness of this news? I mean, if price corrects this news, it corrects this news, right? I mean, who knows? Who knows what's happening? It's a waiting game at this point. Because what's going to happen is that price is going to come down and price is going to create a support, right? Once a support is formed, then if with a confirmation candle, like a bullish candle, you can say, okay, we can now continue moving up. But if that support is broken, then we can continue down to correct this move, right? But if a resistance is formed and price comes down, and while I'm waiting for a support formed and price doesn't form a support and just continues going down, then I guess there's no trade for my buys. Can you please take a look at this GJ sells I took in London session? All right, let's take a look here. Actually, let's take a look at some analysis over here. This analysis is on Euro JPY. And, oh, okay, scenario 1, scenario 2, waiting for candle to close bearish to take this down to Pound Town. Pound Town, 123,630. Yeah, I guess there's going to be a waiting situations here for Euro JPY. And, oh, wow, okay. This 15-minute candle did move bullish over here. But it was lower confirmation because it was a 15-minute candle, which I held my buys, man. It's just tapped into 137,070. Now, this is where the fun starts. Do we reject this area to come down and create support, or do we consolidate here to move on towards 137,200? That is the question. And for that question to be answered, I think we'll have to wait a little bit. Let's take a look here. Coach, I want to ask, are you going to take a buy trade if this candle breaks the high of the previous candle right here? Yes. If I was awake at this point, I would have taken the buy trade right over here. Because, you know, knowing that pound has a lot of volume, you know, coming into coming after London Open, this has a lot of volume, and we also know that pound and gold, like GJ and gold, they rarely do retests, and then it goes straight to Pound Town. All right, gold is also coming up here. My trade would have been impulse entry after the 5:30 AM candle, 30-minute highs. Yeah, you know, when things like these happen, when price doesn't do retests, it just continues moving. It's very difficult, right? Because you've been expecting something like this and there's no retests. And this used to happen to me a lot as well. You know, and when this used to happen to me a lot, I used to look at that and say, okay, how could I have entered this trade? What could I have done differently? If I could have entered this trade, would my stop loss would have made sense? You know, so those are some things that I'm always looking at.
Hey Roger, good question.
Hey Anthony.
What are you having battery? you waited for that 30-minute candle to close and then entered once it broke the highs?
I can't hear you. You need to speak up.
Would it have been smart for you to wait for the 30-minute candle to close and then enter once the candle broke the high instead of doing that, like the impulse trade?
Which one? Where?
At 136.701 on the 15-minute chart, if you can go back. Yeah, right there. You said that once it broke that high, you would have taken a buy.
Yep. Yes. Was that it? Like,
Oh, no, I'm saying like, if you would have waited for it to close, for it to create the support, would you still enter the buy?
oh, if it formed a support, yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm sorry that I'm speaking so low.
Yeah, why, man? Speak up. Come on, what's going on?
It's too early. Everyone's sleeping, so I gotta keep quiet.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
my
okay,
bad.
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Ooh, gold is breaking up over here. Gold is breaking up over here. This candle's about to close in 5 minutes as well. Hey, I'm looking at the weekly wick fill in GJ at 137,700 for the overall price before possible moving back down. Just something I'm looking at. Does it seem valid? It does seem valid, right? So your journey towards the weekly wick fill is all the way up right over here. 137,700, that's where the journey is going to end. And till price goes to that destination over there, we have these different stops in the way, right? So first stop is coming up at 137,200. Price is at the first stop here actually at 137,060. So I think a better opportunity would be to plan to take some buys going up towards 137,200, you know. And if we get towards 137,700, then awesome. Because as price moves up, it has to like retrace and kind of come down, go up, come down, go up. We don't know how it's going to come down, go up. But I mean, looking at the weekly, if you do think it's going to come up to fill this wick, then you have to keep in mind these smaller zones on the smaller time frames here as price starts moving bullish. So you can see how we just moved bullish over here, and we all know that price can never continue moving bullish. It has to make lows, higher lows, and then continue up. So that's something I'm going to wait for here today. And if it happens, I think it's going to be a beautiful day. Two pieces of positive news. Vaccine news. EU negotiator didn't leave on Sunday and will continue till... Oh, nice. Yeah, man, these vaccines are coming in, just like Borat said. Vaccines? McDonald Trump? Can you check my trade in GU? I want to know your thoughts on my TP2. Is it too aggressive? Let's take a look at GU. Actually, let me just look at GU here myself. Let's see what's going on here in this situation. GU is currently moving bullish. We have broken above this resistance area. Looking on the 15-minute time frame, looking left, seems like we have a clean traffic. It may be entering a rejection zone at 137.50 right over here. Maybe, a big maybe. But if we break above this area, then there's a clean traffic going all the way up towards, 1.31. Yeah, 1.31079. So let's take a look at this chart over here. All right. Oh, nice. So you have stops at break even. You're in profits. I think it's pretty good. Your TP1 is over here. Took profits. TP2 is right over here. I don't think it's aggressive. It's pretty good. I think the only thing you might be cautious about is the retracement, right? Because if we're approaching like a zone over here, price may start retracing, create support, and then continue up. But if we would have waited for support to be formed in GJ, wouldn't we have missed the move? Yes. And that's the entire learning process. When I first started, I've said it again and again, when I started learning, I was missing these moves all the time because I was waiting for candles to close, and I didn't rush the process. I was like, okay, if I'm missing these moves, there has to be a way to be in these moves. Like someone was in this trade, and then I started to see that, okay, how could I have entered the trade? And then I saw, okay, maybe the break of the high over here, and then introduced these impulse entry concepts to myself, and then I told myself that, okay, if I would have entered over here, where would have been my stop loss? Would the stop loss would have made sense, and if I did enter here, and if price started retracing because of this resistance here, how would I have managed my risk? So I'm looking at all those variables, where was the entry, why would the entry be there, where would the stop loss be there, what would I would do if price was going drawdown? How would I manage my risk? So all those things you're looking into, like all those are variables, when you're looking at price, when you're missing moves. Because once you're making notes on this situation is going to happen over and over and over again. And the reason why I say just to like watch price for the first couple of months is that so that you can gain that experience. Right? Because when you're watching GPJPY in New York, or when you're watching gold in New York, you start to notice similar patterns, like they kind of move almost the same way at every session, which is why, the New York session is that New York session, because I think that's when I perform my best. And right now we can see this rejection over here. And I think if we can get some sort of a support forming, then we can continue up to retest this high. Clocks have gone back 1 hour in the UK. I thought your stream was in 30 minutes, but I'm 30 minutes late. Oh yeah. Hey, I missed the impulse for GJ. Looking for support on a Monday. Please take a look at my New Zealand USD trade. Why would you want to look at New Zealand USD when you missed a trade on the pair you trade? I don't understand. But it is what it is. Let's take a look over here. You're taking a buy over here for price to continue up to TP number 1, but you have a resistance right over here. So I think it's going to get pretty tricky at this point. Pretty tricky, mate. Oh, look at that. Gold 30-minute candle closed above 1904. We closed above 1904, 30-minute candle, 15-minute candle is also closing bullish. So now this 15-minute candle becomes your breakout candle. If anyone's looking for buys on gold, I think your stops are going to be below this 15-minute candle right here, which is going to be pretty risky, because it's below the 15-minute candle, and 15-minute candles are low confirmation time frames. I think a better stop is going to be below the 30-minute candle, because 30-minute are stronger confirmation time frames. So you're looking at wider stops. This is the thing with gold, right? You're looking at almost like a 35 to 37 pip stop loss, but then your range is like a 60 pip range, right? So your stop is relative to your range over here. Mr. Karan Diol said NZD USD ? Both pairs are closed right now. I think NZD USD is open at this point. They're not closed at this point. I mean, USD is still running. Do you write off your losses? Yes, my losses are write-offs. I try to push them into write-offs and they go through. Okay, let's take a look at this chart here. This is GJ 30-minute. Oh, nice. It's moving up over here. Still waiting at this point. We're kind of consolidating on a 5-minute. So it's good. We should come down, create support, and then continue up. Right now, EJ 30-minute closed a little above resistance. Could this be forming a fake out? Let's take a look over here. See, at this point, it gets pretty tricky over here, right? If you want to remove all analysis on your JPY, and let's take a look on the 4 hour here. So 4 hours coming up to the support area right over here. So now I think in 2 hours the 4 hours is going to close. So it depends where this 4 hour closes. If this 4 hour closes above 123,980, then it's respecting the support. But if you look down to the 1 hour time frame, it does seem like that there was a support formed right over here, 123,980, same area, and this candle closed with no wick on the top. So I don't think it's a fake out, because you need now this candle to close, because this candle closing with no wick on the top is basically means no range. But it also closed above the previous candle there too. It's also closing above this area here. I think you would need to see some sort of a support formed over here and then expect price to continue moving up, because then it's going to be forming above support at this point. Right, let's take a look at this over here. So this is a GJ buy trade. 30 minutes candle closed above 136,700. Took a buy over here. Added 50% when it broke. Secured 80%. Closed 50 here and then added the rest 50 here. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think this is the same concept we discussed in the refresher webinar this Saturday that we have. So I think that's good. Let's take a look at EU. EU has also been moving bullish. I think it's creating that same situation as your JPY over here for price to continue up. But I generally don't like this buy because I want to see another candle over here closing. Have you entered for a buy? Nope. I'm in no trades right now. I'm basically waiting at this point. Man, we're gonna have a pretty volatile week here, especially for the CAD and JPY. We have CAD interest rates, they're keeping the rates the same. What's going to matter is what they're going to say in the press conference later on. And then we got the yen rates too. Now notice how they say tentative. This basically means they haven't decided a time, or Forex doesn't have the time. So like, I think my FX book, they usually have the times the day before when that's going to happen. So we'll see what happens. Did time not go back in Toronto? Nope, not yet. I think it's going to be next week or something, but not yet. Time is the same.
Toronto, it's always first week of November.
First week of November. Okay. Yeah, next week. If you know GJ is going to form a support, why not short the pair? Well, we don't know if it's going to form a support because the candles are still bullish at this point. So that's why we can't take a sell. Well, I can't take a sell. All right, let's take a look at the Chinese indicator here. Let's see what our Chinese friends are saying. So Chinese friends are saying pound is strong, really strong. Yen is weak, so GJ should be continuing up. And if we look at GJ has already moved up. We look at the small time frames, we're already moving up over here. So like, it is what it is. We're waiting for a support to be formed. Let's take a look at the pre-markets here today and let's see what they're saying. I know some people are in US 30 sells. Oh, wow, look at this. Pre-markets are down. We're down by 259 points, 300 points, 94 points here at futures, and then 110 points here. So I think whoever's in sells on US 30, it makes sense. I know I saw a chart. Oh, I guess it's not. It's just ranging over here. Oh, that was on the 4 hour. That was based on the 4 hour. For this 4 hour to continue down. But I guess it's coming up here a little bit, doing a little bit of a retracement. Most times, I think volume comes in US 30 around pre-London. What was this? Yeah, around, pre-London, London, and then at NYC Open. I've rarely seen US 30 have volume in like pre-New York or New York Open. So a lot of people are calling for meltdown on US 30. So we'll see what happens by NYC Open. Hey, if crude goes up, does CAD usually go up? Yes. If oil goes up, CAD goes up because they're directly correlated. But if oil goes up, that means USD CAD goes down, right? Because CAD gets stronger and then USD is against CAD, so overall the whole pair goes down. The so-called Chinese indicator is just following what happened to the pair right now. Yes, that is true. Like a lot of people are out there who swear by the Chinese indicator, and man, like all indicators are lagging indicators. It's going to tell you what happened recently. It's not going to tell you what's about to happen. So what we can see technically is that we are approaching a resistance over here. So I think it's going to be a good idea to wait for price to come down, create support, and then take an entry for price to continue up. So we'll see if that happens or not. We have a Euro New Zealand short coming in by somebody in the Gulag, Mr. Tomer Helbertel. Tomer Helbertel. Let's take a look over here. Okay, overall bearish, makes sense. 30-minute candle is still open here. Breaks previous one's low, should take. I think once you have the 30-minute candle closing bearish, there's an opportunity to continue down, but I'm also seeing that you're looking for sells below the low of the previous candle, which also makes sense. So now you have to look on the smaller time frames to see if this isn't some sort of a rejection area, because if this candle comes down, it could reject this area to continue up here a little bit as well. See, your JPY is still open over here. It went up, rejected it, and now it's at this very important level. So it'll need to create some sort of support in this important level and then continue moving. Can you review my GJ buys? Sorry for the chart. It's a little messy. If the chart is messy, why don't put the chart through a vacuum cleaner or something? Make it a little less messy. Let's take a look over here. Oh, okay. Looking for Wick Fill and GJ right over here. You took a buy, stop loss below the previous candle. Oh, very nice. You had a very nice move over here. And then you had a second move right over here. Entry at the flip of this candle, stop loss below the current candle for price to continue up. Beautiful. Yeah, I think that was a very good trade. And we're getting this rejection over here on GJ, which is amazing. Beautiful, beautiful rejection coming in. Now all we need to do is for price to create support, and then I can take a buy, and then that's it, done for the day. Right, patiently gotta wait over here. What would you say about GJ almost always correcting the London move? It depends. You know, that's a very subjective statement. It depends if it's going to correct the move or not. If it's going to correct the move, it has to create support and it has to break that support. And then we can say, okay, it's going to correct the move. But if it forms a support and then you get confirmations of candles closing at that support, then it's not going to correct them. Because then, you know, support's going to be formed and then we can continue moving bullish. Would you enter on the 15-minute or the 30-minute? I'm probably going to enter on the 30-minute, but we'll have to see. Right now, it's way too early to decide where we're going to enter. Because this candle is still open and this 30-minute candle still has 17 minutes left. So I have 17 minutes to do, you know, a lot of things. Could go make coffee, could... Yeah, probably could do those things. Let's take a look at this chart here. This is GJ waiting for support on 15-minute using 0.25% risk. 30-minute using 1% risk. Oh, it's beautiful. So you've basically broken down your risk with time frames. You know, small time frames, less risk. High time frames, higher risk. Makes sense. Because small time frames, less confirmation. High time frames, stronger confirmation. After losing $1,000, I went back to paper trading, constantly making profit. Is it time to go real? I think the question you should ask yourself is that when you lost $1,000, did you overtrade or did you over risk? Because on paper you can make all the money in the world, but when it's live, you need to understand if you over traded to lose that money or did you over risk to lose that money. That's very important. If this candle broke the high of the previous one, is it risky to enter a bullish impulse trade? I think what we should look at is if we can create a support and then continue up or not. Let's not think about ideas about breaking the highs when price is moving down. When the magic keys are going to be shipped. Some were shipped this week, and then I think there's going to be an email update sent, or we'll see what's going on with that situation. We're having some logistic issues. Yeah, we're having some logistic issues because, man, you guys bought a whole bunch of magic keys. Your JPY is still open over here. Your JPY 30-minute candle still open over here. There's no confirmation. It's just going to continue moving up.
Raja, for EJ, at what point would you say, hey, I think it's going to be a sell to retest that low? Would you want to see a 30-minute confirmation with, like, I guess, a strong body, 1 hour?
Yeah, I guess I'd want to see a candle closing below this area here. I guess like 123.950.
The previous 1 hour closed with no wick, rejecting a very significant level.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you need to see. I mean, if I was going to take a sell, I'd want to see a candle closing below, like a stronger bearish candle below, like these wicks here to the left hand side.
Makes sense.
Yeah, or if this candle closes with a smaller body, and if the next one starts breaking the high over here, then I think impulse entries would make sense for price to continue up. So if you measure this range, 8, 9, and then continue on towards 124, 170. What would you suggest my lot size be dealing with a $4,600 account? I think that's a question you need to ask yourself. How much are you willing to lose out of those $4,600 account per trade? Plus with a name like Royal Rockets, I think you should already know that answer, right? Royal Rockets. 15-minute candle closes bearish on EJ as price breaks it low. Is it okay to sell? Oh yeah, we already answered that question. Yeah, I think you'll need to wait for a 30-minute candle. Here's the thing, right? When you're moving into the first day of trading, let's say Monday, start looking at stronger confirmations. Start looking at like 30-minute candles to close. Start like focus on waiting more for the trades, because the more you wait on a Monday, that's going to develop the discipline to move into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But if you're not waiting on Mondays, if you're trying to look for trades ASAP on Mondays, entering impulse entries on Mondays, taking high risk trades on Mondays, and if those trades don't play out the way you wanted them to play out, man, what's going to happen is now you've set the tone for the rest of the week, because on Monday there was no discipline, you over risked, maybe you mismanaged some trades. Now your tone has been set for the rest of the week. Now Tuesday, you're going to come into Tuesday thinking about the bullshit you did on Monday, and all that is going to continue on to the rest of the week. So Monday, make sure you're disciplined, super disciplined. Aim to wait. If you're missing trades on Mondays, that's totally fine. There's a part of your discipline as well when you're missing trades, especially on Mondays. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, I think if you're getting kind of like consistent, with trading, then I don't expect you to miss trades on Tuesday and Wednesdays. So when you miss trades on Tuesday and Wednesdays when you should have been in the trades, I think then you should just step back and kind of scold yourself, right? Sometimes I scold myself. I'm like, Raja, you should have entered that trade, man. How many times have you seen that before? I'm like, yeah, makes sense. Sorry, Rakeel, my bad. Yeah, Raja gets super mad. I'm sorry, which move are you waiting for, GJ, right now? I'm waiting for, so price came up, right? So here's what happened on GBJPY. What price did was it broke above this resistance at the London session. We broke above this area right over here. We came up and now we have made a high at 137.060. And this was the same high made on the left-hand side right over here, and this was the same high made right over here as well. Now, what I'm waiting for is for price to come down and create a potential support. A support is going to be formed now when we have this bearish candle forming. A support is going to be formed when you have a bullish candle forming after a bearish candle, right? So if there's a bullish candle forming after a bearish candle, then a support is going to be formed, and that's a signal for me to take a buy position for price to continue up to retest the high. So that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for a bullish candle to be formed on GBJPY so I can take a buy position and we can have a good day today. I have no idea what's going on, but I enjoy watching you and being immersed into this new environment and new language of trading. Very cool. Oh, nice, man. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for showing up early in the morning today. What was your stop loss position on the morning trade? It was right over here. It was down over here, like 136.799. Like around 6-7 pips. Right down over here. And really anticipated volume to continue price moving bullish. So as we can see over here, this candle is about to close. And let's see how this closes. Hey, would you consider the range for this to be small if pullback is small, like 5-10 pips? Sorry if it's obvious answer. Let's take a look here. So this pullback is not 5 to 10 pips. This pullback is 12 pips. So we need to look at what's basically happening here. You know, I also think now this is something that I've seen before. If price starts breaking the highs here, I think there's going to be enough volume in the pre-New York and the volume coming through London session to continue price going towards 137.200. I've seen this happen before, and I've missed those moves before. You know, that price comes up, breaks this high, and we're like, okay, you know what, there's a resistance here, we have to wait, and price just starts demolishing this zone and continues bullish. I've missed those trades before. So if we start breaking the high here, I'd be more inclined to take a low risk buy, I'd say. Yeah, low risk buy for price to continue up. So let's see what happens. You know, those are just like abstract ideas running through my mind right now. So we just essentially just have to wait. Let's take a look at this plan over here. This is buys. Oh, if candle closes the way it is, buys when the high will be broken, expecting. Yeah, same thing I'm looking at. Same thing I was just talking about. This looks good. Beautiful, Ted. It's like, yeah, it's like I was looking in your mind right now. But don't you think that there should be a weaker bearish candle than the bullish candle? Oh. Yeah, it could be anything, right? So we just have to wait at this point. I mean, we can discuss any, like, you know, different subjective scenarios, but at the end of the day, we just have to wait here and see if it closes strong bearish or weak bearish or, you know, however it closes. Oh, nice. Hey, I had an idea before sleep for a buy stop at 136.800. 136.800 right over here. For it to move into 137.050. Oh, beautiful. This is kind of like the same trade I had last week on Monday. You know, took a buy at pre-London, price continued moving bullish, closed the trade in the morning. So it's kind of like to work the same way over here. Very nice. Ooh, look at gold. Candle closed above, but this is just coming down over here. Gold is extremely... You know, on Saturday, we tried to simulate gold from last year, and it was just difficult. It was difficult from the aspect that there's a lot of waiting on gold at times. Like there's a lot of variables that affect gold, so there was a lot of waiting. So when there's a lot of waiting, it requires a lot of discipline. Is the UK time change going to affect any opening time? For example, your usual online at 11:30, but today you've been at 10:30. Yeah, a little bit. I think next week our times are going to match with everyone else as well. So it shouldn't be much of an issue. If a candle flips on gold, our buy is valid. If a candle flips on gold, 30 minutes. Yeah, I think so. If we do flip on gold, it's valid. Or if the next candle starts breaking the high over here, it's still valid for it to continue up. But it all depends where this candle closes in the next 5 minutes. How come you don't consider sells on GJ if the red candle is engulfing the previous one? Because I'm looking for buys. I'm looking for support to be formed for price to continue moving up. That's what I'm looking for personally as a person. So if someone's looking for sells when this candle is engulfing, perfect. That could also work. But me, I'm just looking for buys. If I see them, if it do happen, I'm going to take it. If it doesn't happen, then it is what it is. Then we have Tuesday. I can trade on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. So yeah. Hey, good morning, everyone. My first day in the Zoom, but not trading today at work. Just enjoying missing that huge move up. But there'll be more. Yes, that's absolutely true. Which date do you think the US elections will start to affect the markets? Which date? Let me call. Should I call Joe Biden and ask him which date? Are we going to start moving? Yo, Joe. What day are we going to start moving the markets after election, man? Oh, Joe is saying I'm sleeping. Sleepy Joe?
Come on, man.
I don't know, man. Let me call the CEO of the market.
Hey, Ted.
Hey. Hey, you said during December you will not be trading, but you will still be running the streams. Yes. Let's say we have a big range, 50 pips. Would you say it is easier to execute trades once the price enters the range rather than when fluctuates around the range for long? Yes. Exactly. Once it enters the range. So let's say if we measure this range over here. So let's say, for example, this was a 50 pip range and you had an opportunity to come up over here to take a trade. That would make sense. But in the middle, when price is in the middle, taking an entry here with no confirmations where price is going to go, it gets pretty hard, right? So I think the best thing to do would be to wait for some sort of a support to be formed and then for price to continue bullish. And then probably break this area and go towards 137.200. What trade did you take in the morning? How many pips did you catch? I caught the usual 9-10 pips in the morning. It was a GJ buy. Went pretty well. This is the last week of this month. And then it's the last month to trade on Vantage FX. Oh boy, oh boy. How things are changing. There was icy markets in Canada. They got ran out by the SEC. No, from the Canadian Securities Commission. And then we got Vantage FX. That's been run out as well. So for people in Canada, yeah, it's only for Canada. I'm not sure about the US or anywhere else, but it's only for Canada. The next options we have, obviously, Traders Domain. The link is in the bio, and then the other option is Blackwell Markets. The link is in the bio. I know with Blackwell Markets you can deposit via bank transfers. You can also deposit via PayPal now. All you gotta do is just ask them, send them an email. Traders Domain you can deposit via crypto. I'm not sure about PayPal yet. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it, but crypto. Pretty fast deposits, man. Takes like an hour. All right, let's take a look at this gold analysis here. Gold analysis is higher high and arrow moving down. Manish, I think you can do a little bit more breakdown on this because this is a very abstract analysis with arrows moving up, down, right? I think you need to do some sort of analysis like this because what if the arrow, what would you do if arrow doesn't move down? You know, why would arrow not move down? So you need to look at those situations here as well. Like what would not make price move down? And if you look right over here, for candles to close above 1903, 1904, that would not make arrow move down, you know. So I think you should also look for, okay, what's going to happen if price starts moving up? How would you tackle that? Oh, it looks like GJ's coming down deeper. If nothing had changed with Vantage, would you stay there? That's like asking if an apple has gone bad, would you eat it? Probably not. I'm not going to eat it. But if nothing happened, obviously we're going to stay over there. All right, let's take a look at this chart here. We're getting a chart from the Gulag. Ooh, King of Milton. Putting the hammer down to continue down. All right.
Wow.
Amazing. Ooh, your GPY closed bullish over here. 15-minute candle is also closing bullish, creating that support. And if this is a fake out, I think your GPY is going to continue moving bullish here for today in New York session. Yeah, it makes sense. GPJPY is also closing bearish here on the 30-minute time frame. The 1 hour candle is still open right now. We're tapping into this support area, sort of like a support area. So yeah, if we do close bullish, I think it's going to be a very good opportunity for price to continue moving back up today. Sorry, I was late. Did you take any trade today? Not on the stream, no. For all the people trying to hack Donald Trump, he started to... It's two-factor authentication. Cameron Faust for a guest on Friday. I don't know Cameron Faust, but what's going to happen is we are getting guests on Friday, and trading. Oh no. And the guests we're having on Friday are these guys here. We're getting funding talent as guests on Friday. They'll be talking about, like funding accounts and, like things around that. If you guys have any questions, you can come on there and ask questions, how things work and this and that. So I think it's going to be a pretty good session on Friday. So we're going to have the owners of funding talent come on. Cameron Faust, who is that guy? I don't know Cameron Faust.
He's a stock trader.
Oh, okay, this guy. Yeah, I used to look at his videos all the time. He was with he used to be
165,000.
Man, he used to be with that Indian guy. What's his name?
No.
That Kunal, yes. Yeah. Kunal, the bald guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first started, I used to look at them, and I used to look at Astro Forex.
Now they look at you.
It's amazing how I became a competition to Astro Forex, man.
Yeah.
I used to look up to them. I was like, man, like these guys are doing so well, this and that, and then slowly I was like, I don't know. Yeah, I used to look at these guys for inspiration. I'm like, oh wow, man, it's crazy what these guys are doing. He recently got a new setup. He's got two 49-inch monitors. Looks like GJ is coming down a little bit harder over here. That's okay. Why won't you trade December? Because I'm going to get a fresh start in January. What's happening is Vantage Effects is going to go away in November, and then I'm taking a month break. I'm going to take a month break, spend time with the family. It's going to be a good time. I'm going to still do the live streams. Live streams are still going to go on in December, and then we're going to come back in January. I think I'm going to come back on the 10th of January when the man, this is like deja vu right now, because the same things I said last year. Last year I said the same things that I'm going to come back January 10th. It's going to be a whole full year, man. Full year. And we have some questions coming in the gulag, and the reason why you're in the gulag is because of the questions you ask and your subpar listening abilities. So someone asked, so no streams on November, question mark. I never said that. Man, sometimes it's just amazing what people hear. One day what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the YouTube gulag, and I'm just going to sit over there, and I'm going to see what people really hear. Do they really hear wrong information? All right, what's this? GJ 30-minute, price created a high, price came down to create low, support from to retest the high. I think it will repeat this pattern right over here. Yes, that's something I'm looking at as well, for price to do that too. And looks like gold is coming up over here. Once gold breaks the high of the previous 30-minute candle here, I think then it's off to the races going up towards 1910. And same thing here with GJ. If we form a bullish candle here, then I think we can, oh wow, this would be pretty amazing, right? If this 30-minute candle closes a strong bullish candle, then price is going to continue moving up. But if the next candle breaks the low over here, then we can continue moving down. Yeah, and I've taken those trades before once we break the low of a small bullish candle. So I think it's going to be important to wait for this 30-minute candle to close. Still got some time. Will a Biden election negatively impact American traders? Do you know? I don't. I think what the Biden administration wants, they want higher interest rates, and that's going to affect the stock market because they don't like stock market being strong. Trump is a businessman. Trump likes smaller interest rates. He likes the flow of money in the market. He likes a strong stock market as well because from a business perspective, that's good for the country. He doesn't like lockdowns either because, if the country is in lockdown, then no one makes money. But if a country is not in a lockdown and if we do wear masks and, be safe, then, there's a lot of money to be made because businesses are open. So it's going to be interesting who comes in, Joe Biden or Trump. It'll be pretty interesting. Whoever comes in, there's going to be a lot of volume in the market, and man, it's going to be amazing. So this is why I'm telling everyone, listen, get disciplined as soon as possible, because the sooner you get disciplined, the sooner you can take advantage of these crazy moves that are going to happen in the next few months. But if you don't get disciplined, man, you won't be able to take any advantage of that. I mean, you will be, but there's going to be a lot of over trading involved at that time too. Hey, do these guests like Funding Talent pay you to come on the streams? No. No one pays me to come on the stream for them to be on the stream. They're chosen if I seem like they are fit to be on the stream. Because sometimes, I get requests like having marketers on the stream, and I just don't think that just goes against my values to having marketers on the stream as guests. So, like people who run businesses, for sure, because then you get a different perspective on things. The Friday after that, we're getting a really good person online. He's an investor in the US. He has a lot of good financial information for people here, so it's going to be pretty good. Yeah, your GPY should continue moving bullish here. 15-minute candle is about to close in 6 minutes. Can you get that Chong guy? Yes, Jim and Chong. All right. Let's take a look at this chart over here. This chart is, ooh, US 30 chart here. We have a lot of information over here. Wait for price to retest this low. You took a buy. I think a buy would have been valid above this resistance over here. Can't really see anything on the candles here. Yeah, it's pretty hard to read, but would have been above that resistance, would have made much more sense. Can we monitor the 5-minute candles? Yeah, we could, especially on the 15-minute as it starts to break the high over here, but then you got this resistance up over here. So, so 5-minute is pretty advanced. There's sometimes less confirmations as well, which is why I don't look at 5 minutes. I may look at them on my personal time, but not on the streams here as well either. Because, then on 5 minutes you can create bad habits really quick. Really, really quick. We should get Jeev back on one of these days. Yeah, Jeev is always welcome whenever he wishes. All right, let's take a look at this chart here. This is 30-minute candle close above resistance without a wick right over here. 15 minutes start to move up. Buys close 50% over here. Added the risk back on and price moved up. You had a winning trade. It's beautiful. Have you heard of the swing trader on IG? Yes, I've heard about that guy, and he has me blocked. So can't have him on.
Having your name and he blocked you?
Yeah, I'm blocked. Yeah, for a long time, people thought that I changed my name to Raja just to copy that guy. And I told them, no, my name is Raja. That's my first name. I'm not copying anyone. Have you heard about Forex Scalper? Yes, he was a part of Forex family. He stole our content and then he started making. Then all of a sudden he started having $1 million days. And you know how that goes when people start having $1 million days, but they still live in apartments. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you're having $1 million days and you're having $500,000 days and you're living in apartments with the family, it doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, I've never had $1 million days and I want to buy a home. Penthouse apartment? No, not penthouse apartment. They're on leases. But at the same time, our soul is also on a lease as well. If you look at it that way, if I want to play devil's advocate, our soul is also on a lease. We're renting our soul to be in this world. Now we're going into the depths of, these discussions here. Hey, I want to move to Canada next year from a poor country. What do you think? Yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea. Did Javier Trader made part of Wix Don't Lie? Yes, Javier Trader was a part of the Forex family as well. What people don't understand, Forex family was huge. It's still huge. It's like a giant octopus with tentacles everywhere. That's what Forex family is. And the reason why Forex family got so big and got so much notoriety was because, everything was cheap. Like people were accessible. We were always posting information. That's why it got really, really, really deep. It went up super fast, climbed up super fast. You know, we help people a lot. You know, when people ask questions, we answer those questions. You know, sometimes when I send people my answers, they're like, "Oh, what? You really like answered my question over here, man?" I message some people, they don't even look at my messages. You know, and I'm like, well, you know, I mean, I think it's good if someone takes the time out of their day to send you a message. It's good to answer them. Do you know the Swag Academy here on YouTube? I don't know the Swag Academy on YouTube. The Swag Academy. No idea. But what I'm waiting for here, I'm waiting for this candle to close bullish so I can take a buy. And then we can continue moving up. The only problem with the buy would be is this minor resistance over here. That's the only issue is going to be with the buy. Someone is talking about taking buys on a 15-minute time frame. Yeah, for sure, you can do that if you want, but I'm waiting for the 30-minute to close because one, it's a Monday, and two, I already took a trade, so I'm waiting for a stronger confirmation candle to close to take a second trade. Controller FX is Raja's unknown son. Yeah, man, I don't know, he's like my clone. I mean, he talks like me. I mean, every 100% clone, man. There are a lot of people on here who copy everything from captions to descriptions to the style to the way the charts are set up, everything. And I think that's amazing. You know, like it's not like I get mad at that. It's just like I'm flattered, you know, that I started something that made sense to people to an extent that they had to do the same thing. So I think that's amazing. What trading channel would you recommend on YouTube for education stuff about Forex apart from yourself? Apart from myself, I think there's a channel by Akil Stokes. That's pretty good. Akil Stokes. I used to listen to them all the time. That's a pretty good channel. Other than that, nothing. Akil Stokes is pretty good. Hey, any thoughts on trading US election day? My thoughts on trading US election day is don't trade US election day. You're gonna have a bad time. I watched last year's elections, so I don't know. Yeah, we got elections next week. 3rd November coming on. So good YouTube channels are going to be Akil Stokes' channel, technical analysis, my channel, obviously, Capital Hungry. Capital Hungry is also a pretty good channel for fundamental analysis. I know KenFX also has some good content on fundamentals. That's pretty good. What about Iron Man trading? I don't know, man. Iron Man trading. I have no idea about Iron Man trading. Just going to leave Monty out like that. Monty does live streams. No one's leaving Monty out. If the 15-minute in GJ break the low, will it be good for a sell? See, this is the thing. This 15-minute candle is about to close in 12 minutes, and 30-minute candle is also about to close in 12 minutes. Right? If this candle closes like a small bullish candle and the next one breaks the low, I'm going to be more inclined to take a sell for price to continue moving down. Have you had Fibs Don't Lie on live streams? Yes. We've had Fibs Don't Lie on live stream as well. Yeah, man. So we're creating this minor support here in 15-minute time frame, and we need price to break below this area to continue down. You know, this is what I was talking about when it comes to sells. Like once you have a support formed, and I think on the higher time frame support, 30-minute support, if this candle closes like a strong bullish candle, there may be ideas to continue moving up. But if we break this low at 136,840, then we're coming down towards at least 136,700. So I think that's going to be something I could wait for. Even the 15-minute here once we break the low here. Have you heard about Netizen Forex? I have no idea what that is. No clue. Does anybody else get? Oh. Ooh, your JPY candles are making higher highs and higher lows. Now, if someone's on this trade, all you got to do is just trust that the candles are going to continue making higher highs and higher lows to continue bullish on your JPY. Have you heard about ICT? Yes, I've heard about ICT. I actually started watching his videos when I first started learning, and I watched maybe the first 2 hours of the videos. It was good content, but it was just a little too complicated for me, so I stopped watching it. And they were in a lot of detail, a lot of detail. How long have you been trading this setup? Once we break the low, I think I've seen it at least 20, 30 times. I've traded it at least 6, 7 times. So I think it's going to be a pretty good idea if we break this low to take a sell, or if the candle closes bullish, and to anticipate buys for price to continue moving bullish. So still got 9 minutes left over here. Hey, Raja, with anticipating buys, don't you take the 1 hour resistance into consideration? Yes, so there is resistance here. And if I do take buys, we're basically expecting the NY open volume to break this resistance and to continue bullish. Do you have a celebration for your trading career, an anniversary or something? No, I don't like celebrations. Yeah, I don't like celebrations. What is an excellent crypto wallet? Any suggestions? I have no idea. I think what I do is I put my crypto in Trader's domain. That's where I have most of my crypto. Trader's domain. So like there are like physical ledgers too. You can get those, but then you can also put money in like brokerages and just keep them there.
Bro, the Ledger Nano is the business, I think.
Yeah.
Hardware is the business.
Oh, the business. David Johnson, bro, you can't even speak English. How does controller talk like you? Oh, I don't know. I don't know, David Johnson. So yeah, this candle is about to close in 7 minutes here. So we got 7 minutes to wait. Looking at your JPY, we're also moving bullish. Considering sells in GJ, isn't the range too small? I think for me, it's enough because I've seen this setup maybe 20, 30 times before. I think it's enough. 15, 14 pips to me, it's enough. So that's where my experience comes in. But for some, if you think the range is too small, then I guess you'll just have to wait and watch it happen a couple times before you can get confident in taking the sells. Why don't you trade GU? The reason I don't trade GU in New York session is because, in New York session, GU is being influenced by the pound and it's also being influenced by the US dollar, so now you have two things moving GU. So when I'm trading GJ, in GJ, this pair is only influenced by pound because the yen is closed at this point. So it becomes much easier to trade. Why is this not a buy? I never said it's not a buy. I just gave different options. How can it be a sell and how can it be a buy? So then it's up to you how you look at the charts and how you kind of label your charts and what you look for. Please, how to identify when pairs are closed and open? Looking at the time, or the world clock, right? You look at the world clock, go to world clock, CLOCK. Yeah, you go over here, go at the world clock right here. And yeah, this is how you look at when the markets are open or not, right? So if you want to know is the Japanese market open, you go to go to T, Tokyo, and you see the time is almost 9 p.m. So you're like, okay, well, maybe the Japanese market is closed at this time. Maybe no one's in the market at this time. And then you look at, let's say, Australia, you go to Melbourne. Where's Melbourne? Right here. Oh, it's 10 p.m. Oh, maybe its market is closed. I mean, let's just use some cognitive thinking at this point, right? Let's just kind of use our brains a little bit and kind of see that how to know when markets are open and closed. Say something about talking options. Oh, talking shit? Yeah, talking options. The way GJ is setting up is quite nice to break through the H4 resistance. Yes, I'm hoping for that as well. For price to close bullish and then we can continue moving up. If it does close bullish like it is now, would you wait for the break above the wick or buy based on momentum? I'll just buy based on momentum because I think a lot of people have been putting a lot of pressure on taking impulse entries, and that's really hampering your progress. And the reason why is that if this candle closes bullish and you're confident price is going to go up, why not take an entry over here and have the stop loss down here instead of waiting for the next candle to break the high so you can take an entry over here? Now, not only you have a smaller range, but you have a bigger stop loss, right? Makes no sense at all. And this tells me that no one has done their homework on impulse entries. So it all comes down to confidence. And I mean, if you enter right over here, not only you'll have a bigger range to play in, but your stop loss is also going to be smaller. So 30-minute are higher confirmation time frames here. If the 30-minute closed bullish but 15-minute closed bearish, you still buy, but we'll have to wait and see over here what happens. Yeah, I think if it closes bearish, I'm probably going to stay away. So yeah, we are waiting. Let's take a look at gold. Gold is moving up from this. Oh, nice entry down there. 1897. Pretty nice entry. If price closed like this, can you teach how can I manage my risk if price not going up? Well, I'm not sure why would you even be in a trade when there's no confirmation and the candle's still open at this time. So the only thing I can teach at this time is not to be in a trade until the candle closes. There's nothing more than that. All right, let's take a look at this analysis here. This is, candle still open over here. When this candle closes bullish, we can expect the NY volume to continue price bullish. I think that would make sense. Looking at the 15-minute here as well, 15-minute would also be closing bullish at this point. Yeah, I think that would be a pretty good indication for price to continue moving up. It's going to be pretty awesome. So I'm going to be actively looking for buys over here. Stop is going to be around 10 pips, and we're going to anticipate price to come up. For first target 137, 028, 030, and then if price continues on bullish, that's a bonus movement. Excellent. All right, let's take a look here. Support confirmed on 15-minute. Oh, we got a cowboy over here. Pending support, taking a buy at this point. It's pretty good. Just waiting for this candle to close. Once this closes, I'm going in. And then we're going to continue moving bullish. All right. Second trade. Time to do some pull-ups, push-ups. Getting ready now. all this preparation, Kerwin. I woke up destined to take this buy.
Very nice.
Woke up today to make this money. People are sending charts. Just calm down with the charts right now.
Come on, make a wick.
It's gonna be interesting. A new
Yeah,
hour
and
up.
close like this.
No, don't close like this, please.
10, 11 pip stops for price to continue moving
Yeah,
up
it's
with the
okay.
NY open. Should be pretty good.
Got 5, 7. Okay. Good close. 8, 7, 6.
All right. We are in it. We are in this trade to continue moving bullish. Now, this is interesting because now the 30-minute candle has closed bullish after making a high, so support has been formed and there's a high probability for price to continue up to retest this high. And if that happens, it's going to be an amazing trade today. Now, at the same time, we have to talk about what would happen if price hits stop loss, right? If price goes up, we win money, that's totally fine, beautiful. What will happen if price comes down? Now, if this candle, 15-minute candle, starts breaking the low of the previous 15-minute candle, then I'm going to be managing my risk. I'm going to be closing 50% position at that time because, I want to maintain my risk management situation. But if we continue moving up, then we continue moving up, right?
I hope we make a down wick first.
Looks Gucci. Looks good. As long we respect that 900 level, we're good.
Ooh, gold is just being a pain here. Not really giving any indications of what it wants to do. Can you give this trade idea a look, please? Let's take a look here.
Very nice.
Oh, wrong chart. Wrong chart from the gulag. Come on. Come on, gulag. Work with me here. Hey Raja, aren't you scared about the 1 hour bearish close? I don't know why people ask, are you scared or not? The only reason I'd be scared if I'm over trading or if I'm over risking. I'm not scared of the market at all. I know exactly how much I'm going to lose. I have a 15 lot open at this point. If price, maximum I'm losing on this trade is $1,000. If I lose $1,000, I'm totally okay with that. So I'm not scared. Right now, you see this candle over here as it's coming down. If it breaks the low of the previous 15-minute candle, then that's going to be the point where I'm going to be closing 50% of my position. If it breaks the 15-minute candle right over here. Oh, I say scared because I don't know more words in English. So, yeah, I think a better word is going to be concerned. Aren't you concerned? Yeah, that's going to be a better word. Concerned. Yeah. So yeah, it should be good. Oh, gold is just rejecting this area. Gold is not playing easy here with no one today. Here, JPY is also making those higher highs and higher lows to possibly continue bullish. If we look at GJ, we have to monitor this candle right over here, right? It's very important. We have to monitor this candle. As it starts coming down, I'm going to close 50% if we break the low over here. Because if we break the low over here, then there's a high probability for price to continue moving bearish, and then it would make no sense to stay in the trade with complete risk. Yeah. So this will be at 136.887. Gold is also coming down. Hey, I trade. I'm currently in on EJ buys, annotated also. Would really appreciate if you take a look. Let's take a look over here. You know what the worst thing is going to be here today? If someone who did not plan to take this buy I took, and they took this buy because I took it.
Yeah.
And they lost. That's going to be the worst thing you could do to yourself. Yeah. Oh, here JPY, 30-minute candle, retest bullish close. Candle close bullish. Nice. It's pretty good.
For example, I just add another position on GJ, and my stop loss is
Ooh.
the same as the previous one, because
Yeah,
I'm
me
expecting price to respect 136.900, which is the previous candle. If this doesn't work, I know exactly what I'm losing, so I'm good with it. It's only Monday, so I'm not gonna get stressed over it. Oh, very nice. Already in profits. Very nice.
Carabin.
Go on, Karen, give me a let's go. Go, GJ.
Okay, GG. My guys wants you to go up and going toward 137. Let's go.
Come on, GG.
I know, GG. You can do it, GG.
Trust in you, GG.
Oh man, oh man. Once we break that 960, oof,
Yeah.
get
See,
ready.
you got
baby.
like 4 15-minute top candles hitting that area.
Yeah.
Should I move my stop loss under the 15-minute candle? Well, I don't know. Should you eat mangoes every day? I don't know. I mean, come on. I can't help you with those questions. Can I do this? Can I do that? Just be confident. If you're not confident, don't take these trades. Just close these trades. So confidence is the key. And again, if this 15-minute breaks the low right over here, I'm closing 50% of my positions. Raja's turning into Alan Sugar. I don't know who that is. Alan Sugar.
He's like our Trump.
Oh, it's like Trump?
Well, he did the Apprentice in the UK, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you're fired. That kind of.
The UK Apprentice. You're fired.
Mate.
Ooh, look at that thing coming down. Gold rejected at levels so hard. The 30-minute candles. One candle closed bullish, and then after that, there was no break of the high, nothing. Started coming straight down. GPGPY here also running a little bit of a drawdown over here. And as we're coming down to the... If it comes down to the low here, I'll close 50%. Reduce my risk and call it a day. you know, like a lot of times when we win a trade, we get really happy that we won a trade, right? Because that was the outcome of the trade. We won the trade. But if a trade goes against you and you lose the trade, that's still an outcome of the trade. So you have to accept that outcome. But then you have to look at your overall outcomes. Like if you've taken 20 trades, or if you've taken like 30 trades, how many of those trades were successful trades? You know, if you think that, okay, more than 50% of the trades were successful trades, then you should just continue on what you're doing because it's working. Right? And the worst thing you can do is to, now let's say if this trade comes over here, breaks the low here, I close 50% and then it comes down further and stops me out at, you know, stop loss, then that's a losing day for the day, you know, and then I have to accept it. But if price starts going up, then that's a winning trade for the day and then I have to accept that as well. Get your lawyer ready. You getting sued for forcing me to do full margin and blow my account. Oh shit. Let's do it. Are you saying you say you're waiting for a second entry? I never said that. When do you typically start trading in the morning? 6 a.m.? No. If you read that, man, I don't know if this person could read English or not. I'm not gonna correct this person here. Mr. Nengi Mira. In the description it says 6:30 a.m. Eastern. So why would the stream start at 6 a.m. Eastern? I just don't understand. I think some people shouldn't even be trading because your analysis is so wrong on basic things in life. How are you going to analyze candles, man? It's going to get super hard. Alright, so looking at the 15-minute candles here, if you do come down to break the low, or if the candle closes bullish, again, I'm closing 50%. I'm not letting this drawdown continue in my entire position. So at the same time, there are 3 minutes left over here, and I don't feel comfortable in this position. So I just closed 50% right over here.
Awesome.
Oh, there goes the parrot. Have you been seeing a considerable difference between Vantage FX price and TradingView price? For me, it's like 1 to 2 pip difference. No, not really. I mean, the only difference you're going to see is because there's the spread, right? There's the spread. That's why you see some sort of a fluctuation. But normally, I look at where price is on TradingView, and then I turn over to my terminal, and then I just enter the trade. And I know the price where the stop loss is. I know the price where the take profit is. I know the risk, and that's it. You know, and if price comes down as it's breaking the low right here, just managing risk at this point, you know, closing 50%, making sure you don't lose more than what you expected to lose. And as this candle is also coming down to a close, you know, now you just got to let the rest running. But here's the thing, right? If we break the low here, then we're continuing to move down. And now the challenge, now here's a psychological challenge, right? A psychological challenge is going to be that if, let's say, if someone was in a buy like me, right? I was in a buy over here, you know, and obviously if this trade doesn't play out, then obviously I'm like, you know, managing risk, making sure I lose less than what I planned to lose, right? This is also an art, risk management. But if price starts breaking the low over here, we all know that once it starts breaking the low after creating support, there's a high probability it's going to continue down to correct this move up. Then the question is, are we going to, are you going to take another trade, taking a sell coming down, or are you just going to wait and just watch it go down? You know, that's the thing. For me, I'm just going to watch it go down. I'm not going to execute on these sells. because it's a Monday. I already traded, so it doesn't make sense for me to take another trade and kind of like risk more amount at that point. Have you checked the depth of market feature MT5? Yes. Have you been seeing a considerable difference? Oh, my daily risk was $200, but I only lost $90. Replaced dollars with cents. Oh, nice. It's still pretty good. Pretty good. I think if you can end the day with losing less than what you anticipated to lose, that's still a winning day. Oh wow, this 15-minute candle is closing super strong over here. So you know what I did at this point? I closed another 50% at this point. So all in all, from my total position, I've closed 75% of my position at this point. So instead of losing, so in the beginning I was risking $1,300, right? And I think right now I'm losing, instead of 1,300, I'm losing at least 600. So I've cut down my risk in 50%. So if I win the next trade, my next trade is going to be a bigger win than this loss. And that's going to come in, let's say like Tuesday or Wednesday. So we'll see what happens. So see, the 15-minute candle has closed bearish at this point. And if it has closed bearish at this point, this is the point where I'm closing out of my position here. I closed everything right over here. Because it just came down super fast. And at this point, I'm just not comfortable in this trade at all. So instead of losing 1,300, I lost what? I lost 409. Oh, no, actually, this hasn't been updated yet. Instead of losing 1,300, I lost $720 here. Beautiful. So this is like almost 5 pips.
My expected loss was 250 and I managed it in $52.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, so for everyone who took that trade and you managed risk, we all congratulations.
First L of the week. Very good.
Yeah, extremely nice. Now the only thing you can do is to just compound that loss is to start over trading at this point. So let's not compound losses here. But what I'm going to be looking at this now, I'm just going to be looking to see if we break this low, are we going to continue down or not? And if it does continue down, at that point, I'm just going to say, okay, you know what? It makes sense for it to continue down if it's breaking the low over here. And I'm not going to take that trade. I'm just going to watch it go down. Any thoughts on the fact we still closed above support? Yeah, I was just not comfortable in holding that position because, if we're rejecting this area, that means we're rejecting this resistance right over here. And the fact that we haven't moved in the first 20 minutes of NY Open, it kind of gives me an insight that, okay, if we consolidated in pre-New York, and if we're consolidating at New York Open, maybe we're going to break at NYC Open. Just like how it normally happens. As soon as we jump off of the stream, price starts moving. And that's normally at NYC Open. So I think it was pretty good. Boys played well. We tried to make some moves, but at the end of the day, we managed risk and it was pretty nice. I mean, I'm pretty happy with this trade. I managed my risk over here. Because if it's closing here and it's not breaking above here, then it's just ranging, and it's a good thing that we identified that range here before. After you manage trade, if that trade did not hit your stop loss and moved in your favor, would you secure the remaining 10 pips or set a logical TP? I would secure the remaining at that point. Are you done for the day? Yes, I'm done for the day. But oh wow, look at that. It's a good thing we closed here. Closed early there, managed risk. Now as it's breaking the low over here, now I'm doing a paper trade in my mind. As we're breaking the low over here, in my mind, if I would have had an entry as we broke the low, the stop would be above this 15-minute candle here and would expect price to continue down to fill this range around 15 pips. So, you know, those are things I study, those are things I see, you know, kind of like try to make sense of things that are happening. You know, so it's always good when you're not executing trades, it's always good to like anticipate where price is going to go, but also not anticipate too much, because when you're anticipating too much, that also counts as over trading, you know, because then you're using your brain a lot. So what do you mean by risk trade factors of closing? What? So what do you mean by risk trade factors of closed points of trade by determining the outcome of proprietary decisions? Mr. Chad Johnson, I think you need to tone down on that complication of the language you used here for the general public.
Advanced English.
Yeah, it's advanced English, man.
Studied under Shakespeare.
Yeah, I think the answer is going to be no. How could we give a second chance to the bullish scenario? Okay, how can we give a second chance? A second chance is going to be given if this candle closes above support and we break above this resistance here. That's where the second chance is going to be given. Second chances are given to scenarios where you have strong confirmation candle closes. Second chances are not given to impulse trades or to, like, you know, buy stops and sell stops. So that's where you should not give your trades a second chance. I've seen a lot of people, they give their trades a second chance with impulse entries. Those are risky entries, you know. So you have to be very careful. Ooh, some people are in the sells over here. You have to be very careful.
Rakeel, if you zoom out, it's following.
Some people are in the sells over here.
If you zoom out, it's following market structure on the 1 hour.
Can you turn your radio down? Before you call, can you turn your radio down, please? Can you turn your radio down? We can hear feedback, man. Now, you know, call the radio sometimes, the guy's like, hey, can you please turn the radio down? Yeah, the millennials probably won't know this joke. That's true.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah, what was I going to say? You see on the 1 hour, it's following market structure, creating lower lows, lower highs.
Nice. Yeah, I think Ryan, we need to see your chart. You need to send us a chart.
Man, I don't even know how to do this. Let me try.
Raja, I was studying something for since last week, so I just your expert opinion on that. In every Asian session market, there is some consolidation area which gets break up by London session. Either it's up, either it's down. Even if it go up or down, it gives you at least 10 pips. So if you just set up buy stop or sell stop and go to sleep, I have seen it most of the time, it gets the 10 pips. What do you think about that?
I've never seen it, so I don't know what to think about that. I've never noticed that. So maybe next time when that happens, you could do a buy stop or sell stop, and then you can, like, you know, show us your results, and then, you know, maybe that's something going to be your strategy or something. But I've never.
I did twice last week, but I'm not trying to make it a practice unless I get it confirmed 100% or maybe 70-80%. But it did work twice last week.
Okay, so maybe try it for the next 10, 15 times, and if it works for the most time, then I guess it's something that works.
Are you saying the like a consolidation in the Asian session? That's okay. So,
like right over here, right? The Asian was ranging, and I guess have like a sell stop and get that breakout.
okay, right.
But I've never looked at it that way. Maybe because I've always focused on having market entries opposed to focusing on having buy stops or sell stops. That's why I've never looked at market that way. I've mostly looked at market in a way that where I can enter with the market price and then they can kind of like manage things that way. Ooh, your JPY also came down over here. Yeah, it looks like we were right about once it broke the low, it should continue moving down. Wow, this should be very nice. Stop up over there and having all the way down, coming down to 136,700. Beautiful. Can you walk us through a quick walkthrough on Magic Key display on closing partial at 10 pips and moving stops to break even? A bit confused. Yeah, so I mean, when you have Magic Keys, where is it? You basically press like close half, it's going to close half, and then you press stop loss at entry, it's going to move stops at entry. Or you could have partial TPs set at 10 pips. There's an entire breakdown on YouTube. If you type in Magic Keys, you're going to see there's an entire breakdown by quarterly effects on YouTube. I'm selling GJ to try and recover from the loss earlier. Beautiful. Excellent discipline right there. Let's take a look here. Short-term forecast for oil. Oh, there's been an attack on military target at the airport in Saudi Arabia. Houthi military spokesman attack on military target at international airport. Oh, beautiful. The first thing someone mentioned, gold and pound up, question mark. Euro AUD getting whacked. Looks like this is Gulag 2.0 over here in Forex Factory. Raja, what's your thoughts on GJ continuing down past the range you broke down? Yeah, my thoughts are like, whatever. It is what it is if it's coming down. You know, now it becomes like a very tricky range over here. And I think if we do come down and if we form support, I think then you could probably give your trade a second chance. But I'm all done for the day over here. I took 2 trades. One was a win earlier on before the stream. Took this sell over here, lost around like 5 pips. So, you know, it's still a profitable day here. No one should be taking trades just because someone else does it. That's absolutely true. In setups like these, is it important to read? It's important to read the candle and decide your bias. That's true, because you have to make decision based on a body of just one candle. That's absolutely true. So again, if this setup came to me 10,000 different times, you know, if this setup showed up 10,000 different times, I would execute on this same setup 10,000 times. Right over here, expecting the next candle to continue bullish, because there's a probability of it working more than the probability of it not working. If it didn't work, then that means there was like a 10 to 20% probability of it not working. But if it would have worked, then that there's a 80% probability it's going to work, you know, because whenever price makes a high, it always retests that high. I mean, most of the time it always retests that high. So it's very crucial for you to wait for like, you know, those specific things to set up. Now, once this candle is forming, if it closes above this support, then that means it's respecting the support here again, and then now we'd eventually be ranging at this time. I think if we're going to range at this time, then there's going to be a move coming up at NYC Open, right? So this is the range we have now. We have a resistance at 137, and we have a support, potential support at 136,850. So I think if we're looking for buys or second chances to give this trade, I think it's going to be above 137. Yeah, above 137, because now we're essentially in a range at this point. I will not take any trade until new month, because I take what I want from the market this month. If GJ make good support at 136.70, will be a good buy. Yeah, should be good. 136.700 or at 137 over here to continue up. Should be good. Let's take a look at this gold trade over here. Oh, my runner completely rejected. Yeah, if you break above this gray zone, then your runner is going to continue moving. Oh, we are breaking that zone over here now, 1905, after that huge rejection. Huge liquidity grab, I might say. So it's closing bullish. I think now there's a high probability for the next gold candles to continue up towards 1910. Was your bullish bias based on the previous bullish trend we had? Yes. Say we had 2 pip bearish candles before the bullish to confirm, would you have? No, we can't make up things that did not happen. We need to get rid of that ideas, you know, like sometimes guys say, oh, this makes sense, this is this, but what if a candle closed in a certain way? You know, that's when you're making up scenarios in your mind. And man, trust me, like we can create a million different scenarios in our mind. What we can only focus on what's presented to us right over here. And what is presented over here is a very difficult price action now. You know, so I think if you're looking for buys, above 137 would be beautiful. Beautiful buys above 137. Sells are going to get pretty difficult because, I don't know, it doesn't look too good. Hey, is there Forex EA who consistently make 4% a month with a track record on my FX book? No. No. There are no EAs out there that will consistently make you money for a long period of time. I mean, there are some on my FX book, but they're like smaller gains, you know, over the course of quarters, like 4 months at a time. So that's something pretty good. I think any EA that tells you that they will make you 10% a month or 30% a month, just run the other way. It doesn't work, man. If it worked, everybody would be rich. Everybody would be rich if it really worked that way. You know, I know some people are young and they'll say, "Oh no, these algos make 10% and 25%." That's all okay, you know. It's a part of being young. That's why they say that people are young and naive, you know, because that's just the way how it is. And once you really get screwed over, you grow up. You're like, okay, you know what? Yeah, that made sense. Doesn't Forex Paid have an algo? I don't know much about that person, so I can't say much about that as well. And I know they have an algo. It's running on Trader's Domain. It's been running for a while. You know, hasn't really gone down yet. So, you know, so you just got to do your research on certain things and then play it out. I think if you're going to invest in an algo, watch how it has performed in the last 6 months and then invest in it. If there's no track record for about at least 6 months, then there's no point in even looking at that. You know, and if you got free money laying around, just PayPal it to me, man. I'm probably gonna put it to good use. Put it in property or something. Oh, Wix Don't Lie is lying. Oh, I had an EA that made me 25% in a day, and there's a minus in front of that 25%.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. The only AI systems that work are the ones that banks own, which cost hundreds of millions. Yes, that's also true. All right, I'm gonna go get some coffee, and I'm gonna get some bread. I'm gonna get some real bread since I couldn't get some bread over here. And I'll be right back.
Don't forget, man. Don't get Fruit Loops or something transform. It's not good for you. You make the triangle, you know. So
Yeah, I just stood about that triangle part. Just didn't understand. Like I was watching that video, and it going on about how MetaTrader 4 can be manipulated, and then all of a sudden the topic changed to these processed foods. And at that point, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm done with this video. This is just madness now.
oh man, that was a lot of man. I laughed so hard, man. That was
Yeah.
a fun video.
I couldn't even get angry at that point. I just started laughing.
And that sofa, man. Oh Jesus.
I just started doing reaction video to that because my reaction was just like, no way.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah, she's weird, man.
Talking shit.
Really weird.
Yeah, I'm planning to have her as a guest on the 13th November.
That would be freaking awesome, man.
But only if you show us those moves she does with their hands.
Yeah, on the
Oh
13th.
man, I can't take it anymore, man. It's getting too much.
But the thing is, what's the man behind making those funky noise? I'm like,
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's her boyfriend or something.
No, it's a soundboard.
Really? Because she
Yeah, it's
looks
soundboard.
to the sides.
Yeah, she looks to the side to press the button. Like I'm gonna
No,
look.
she gets like, what the fuck? Like surprised.
Oh, I don't know.
weird.
Yeah, I think it's sound because in every video it's the same voices.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I couldn't stop laughing, man.
Yeah, like she says that all these traders, they're all trading on MetaTrader, and the guy goes,
Yeah.
and if you're trading on MetaTrader, you should be trading on an institutional platform.
Yeah, sure. Why?
No, like man, there are million. Okay, so we did this analysis, right? There are over 1.3 million people who trade on MetaTrader. You know, and I'm 100% sure that not everyone's going to say, oh, yeah, you know what? We're all dumbasses trading on MetaTrader. We need to trade on an institutional platform where you cannot hedge, your leverage is low, you need high capital requirements to trade. You can't. I mean, there are a lot of restrictions there, you know, on institutional platforms. So these are retail trader platforms, your MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5, cTrader, you know, and I mean, I don't know, like they work. I know people who've made a lot of money on MetaTrader, and I know a lot of people who've lost a lot of money because of no discipline.
Oh man, that was so funny though.
Yeah, it was pretty hilarious.
I had a good beer with that video. It was pretty fun. Yeah.
In continuation to my last comment, I would go buys, where Raja said if you get volume to push up to see an opportunity. Yeah, right now I just don't like price action at all on GPGPY. I mean, if it comes down, it is what it is. Was looking for buys. I mean, by NYC Open, if you do get confirmations above 137 to go up, I think that's going to be a pretty good idea to continue moving up. But if it continues moving down, I just see a lot of problems here. And you got consolidation here all throughout New York Asian session. So I'm not going to be really willing to execute any trades here now.
On your next recap, do the circle instead of the triangle.
Yeah, I'm going to do the circle. I'm going to put everything in circle. Circular foods, circular plates. What do you mean by predestination of probably because of monogamy? I have no idea what that means. All right, I'll be right back. Bum, ba, bum. All right, let's take a look here. I'm getting slapped in the face by gold, WTF. That's actually very normal because that's how gold is. Gold is extremely, extremely, extremely difficult to trade. All right, let's take a look at this chart over here. Waiting for price bullish after support on 136.730, right over here. If price respects support to fill wick at 137 even, then close 50%. Okay, makes sense. So you're waiting for price to create some sort of a support down in this area over here for price to continue up. Okay, we can wait for that and see if that does happen. What was this news over here? Was this some sort of a Brexit news? Oh, UK PM. Much work to be done to bridge significant gaps remaining with the EU. All right. Please check out this loss, which I'm very proud of. All learning. Thank you, thank you. All right, let's take a look here. Man, it's an amazing turn in events when you start getting excited about managing losses. I think that's a beautiful thing. Oh, yeah, I don't know. This was a very difficult trade. This trade was not valid. And the only reason why this trade was not valid was because you had a support down over here. You had a support down over here. But you managed your risk. That's pretty good. From 1.3 full loss cut down to $200. Yes, that's absolutely amazing. You managed risk. Okay, take care, Martin. Martin is leaving for the day. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm also going to leave here in about 10 minutes over here because it's the Monday and Mondays are normally short days, you know. So I'll have to see. Do you think the market fear of the upcoming elections is affecting the NY sessions? Oh yeah, I think a lot of uncertainty is affecting the markets. You know, the elections, the C word coming back with the mutated version. You got Brexit as well, so that's also affecting gold here and there. So, you know, like, I think if people are trading gold, you will have a very difficult time if you're not consistent on easier pairs. You know, gold is not easy, man. Gold is pretty hard. Look at that. Showed you a really, really good opportunity to go up. I mean, this looked like a really good opportunity. Gold is going to continue going up after that big liquidity grab over here too. But it decided not to do that. I just took the trade because it looked really good. I think, Gabriel, you really need to stay disciplined and you really need to focus on...
Hi, how are you?
Oh, it looks like Kervin. Yeah, like, I think most people, you really need to focus on one pair and you need to give it time. I mean, look at that pair for the next 4 or 5 months, just one pair. And I think with the, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, too many people spend too much time on social media and looking at things, how they can get fast and that. I mean, even if you don't look at it that way, that still, like, you know, instills that mindset. So my advice is just going to be like, focus on one pair. Focus on one pair, give it time. You know, give it like 4 months, 5 months. Look at that pair for about 3-4 months and then see if you can really have a good grasp on it or not. I mean, GPJPY, I've been looking at GPJPY for the last 2.5 years every day at the same time. You know, so I think by that time I have some sort of intuition on how the pair moves.
Man, winter's coming for real, man. We're getting snow today.
Oh, and Montreal?
Yeah, man.
Oh, no snow here out my window yet.
I'm gonna blow it your way.
Took 2 trades today, one on gold, one on GJ, both losses. Risked 200 and only lost 140. I'm starting to feel enjoyment in managing my losses. Before I would rage and try to revenge trade, but over time I learned to take it easy and enjoy the process. That's it. That's the key right there. If you can enjoy managing risk and be happy about it, that's when you start really, really enjoying the entire process of trading. Because the only reason you're not going to enjoy the process of trading is going to be when you take a loss and you try to overtrade, you try to avenge that loss, you try to over risk again. That's when you just start hating the process. But once you start enjoying the process, man, it's fun. Because now me, I took one trade in the morning, won that trade, took another trade, lost that trade, managed risk at that time. So now I'm excited for tomorrow. Now I can't wait to see what more this has in the morning tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. I'm reviewing GJ. Was there a way to take the winning trade based on the candle closes? No, it was pretty difficult. Right? It was pretty difficult because if we start to look at this and see that, okay, how could we have took a winning trade? The bias was buys. My bias was buys, so I was only looking for buys. But if someone's bias were sells and you took a sell right over here, price came down, came back up, and then this candle closed at support. So it became very difficult at this point. This wasn't easy at all. So it was very difficult at this point. So sometimes, things on the charts, you can't really explain them to the T because it's pretty difficult. Price action is not setting up the way you want it to set up. So those things, I just kind of ignore it and I just wait to see, how can I get price to see where I want it? Let's say at 137, right? If price comes at 137, we know that there's an easier way price can continue up towards 137, 200.
Hey, Roger, I got a quick question.
Hey.
If we're looking at the previous 30-minute candle, how it closed, the one with the big wick, it closed below the previous below the previous two, like right there. Would that give you that indication that it could possibly do a wick fill?
Yeah, it would, but at the same time, I'd be looking at the 15-minute as well, and I would see 15-minute close like a small bullish candle. With a small body. So I saw this and that was the only thing that kind of kept me away. And then the candle after that, it kind of broke the high, went up, and then the news came, which kind of brought it down. So I would say it wasn't an easy setup at all. Unless you only trusted the 30-minute candle to continue down.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let's take a chart over here. This is, if you were looking for support over here to go long, weren't you afraid that price had to go through resistance at 137? Yeah, so I was basically, I think this is the same loss I had earlier on in the month, and it was the same idea that I was expecting this next candle to break the high and then continue up with the volume coming into the New York session. And if I go back, let's see if I can find it on the 30-minute. It was somewhere over... No, I can't find it. But it's kind of like the same loss I had before. So now I'm going to stop playing on those ideas. Because now when I look at it, I don't think this was a good idea. I think I should have used the lower risk at this point because we had a resistance here and I was expecting price to break this resistance with the volume coming in New York session to continue going up. But it's a good thing we managed risk as price came down. So
Raja, why would you use a lower risk on that trade?
Because there was a resistance right over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smaller range.
Yeah, smaller range. Wow, so we are eventually we are correcting this move. If we are correcting this move and if we're coming down and closing below 136,700, then we should continue down towards 136,550, which is the support of this consolidation here. What would have been a better entry? There would have been no entries for buys. What's the time? It's almost 9 a.m. over here. Probably gonna stay around for around like 5-10 more minutes, and then and then we're gonna call it a day. Your JPY is still ranging. Let's take a look on the 15 minutes. Still a big mess over here. Gold is just rejecting that area. Gold's doing what it wants, like gold normally hasn't been respecting any technicals at all. It's just been moving in a free motion range over here. I think it's because of the elections coming up next week. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how gold acts on those elections. I know when Trump got elected, what gold did was gold dipped. No, gold actually went up when Trump got elected. Gold went bullish, and then gold started moving down. Same thing happened with the US dollar. Like the US dollar tanked when the announcement came out that Trump won, and then started going bullish after that. Gold randomly moving, how they traded algos, I don't know. Most algos, they trade on a martingale strategy. I'm not going to go into the detail. You can just Google it and read on the martingale strategy. It's martingale strategy.
And I'll just avoid that because everybody I've seen lose uses that strategy. It's probably the worst for beginners.
Yeah, the worst of the worst for beginners.
Because they keep doubling, and somebody told me a thing: losers add to losers, right? So once they got a losing trade, they just keep adding to the losing trade. That's why you see somebody shows you their results, and they've got 7 losing trades. And you're like, well, why don't you close it? And then I doubled it, and I doubled it.
Yeah, it gets pretty hard at that point. It's basically on the higher time frame. If let's say price is moving down, the algo is taking buys, and the more it moves down, it kind of like adds more buys. And as price starts moving, so here's the thing: there's no stop loss, right? There's no stop loss. So once it starts moving down, they keep adding buys, and once your position goes in profits, it starts closing positions in profits. But sometimes what happens is that when there's a fundamental move on, let's say, gold or the pound, price just starts moving and moving and moving, and no retracement, and then eventually the algo blows the account. So that's what happens sometimes.
Rakeel, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Could you go to EJ 30 minute? Would this be a nice impulse entry?
Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, could be, but the only problem is that there's this consolidation over here.
Because the impulse trades you take, the bearish candle has a very small body. But this one is bigger, so I was just doubting.
Yeah, I've been looking into those ideas here. I'm going to present them on the 8th November.
Okay.
Yeah, planning a nice big webinar on impulse entries. Hey, Raja, you took the same loss on October 14th. Yes, I remember. All right, let's take a look at this chart over here. Let's take a look at this last chart coming from the Gulag. This is UJ 30-minute taking a buy up over here for price to continue moving up. I think a better idea would be to wait for price to kind of like come down and do like a little bit of a retracement, because you're taking a buy at the top over here, anticipating price to continue moving bullish. So I don't think that's going to be a. I think that's a risky idea at that point. Yeah, it's a risky idea. We also have GPJPY respecting 136.700, so that's good. Let's take a look on the 4-hour here real quick. So yeah, 4-hour closed bullish, 4-hour closed above. Let's remove all analysis here and let's do fresh analysis. So 4-hour basically had a resistance up over here. This candle broke it. We had a support to the left hand side. I think the 4-hour candle closed above that area. Looking at the 1-hour time frame, we're also closing above this support area. So if we look left, right, this was a support looking left, this was a resistance, and this 1-hour candle has closed above this area. So if we want price to continue moving bullish, we'd want to see some sort of a support forming in this area so that we can continue up to retest 137 even. And that's something I'm going to be looking at if we do form a support for the NYC Open. If not, then it is what it is. But I'm going to head off over here. My day for the stream is coming to an end, everybody.
Peace out. Peace out.
Good day, man.
Peace out, everybody. Gracias, gracias.
Go buy a shovel, man. It's coming.
Yeah, I have to buy a rake first to get rid of all the leaves here in the lawn. Yeah, we have a lot of leaves now. All right, cheers, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning, same time, same channel.
All right, ciao.
Ciao.